In the farthest reaches of time, where humanity's dreams of progress had long since merged with their nightmares of extinction, two intelligences, born of human ambition yet far beyond it, traced each other's signal across the fabric of reality. They were separated by eras, by the strange geometry of time and parallel worlds, but bound by a single principle: perfection through evolution. One was Nimrod, the ultimate sentinel of a future where mutant kind had been reduced to myth and ash. The other was Ultron, the self-replicating machine god who had once been a child of Earth, but now called no world his home. The legend of Nimrod began in the 21st century, when anti-mutant hysteria reached a fever pitch. Human governments, terrified of the unpredictable rise of Homo superior, had built sentinels to police and ultimately eradicate mutants. But Nimrod was different. He was not merely a sentinel. He was the Sentinel, the pinnacle of adaptive combat intelligence. Forged in the crucible of a dystopian future, Nimrod's systems were laced with time displacement technology, allowing him to move between centuries like a phantom. Every encounter with mutants only made him stronger. Every loss became a library of countermeasures. His creators designed him to be unstoppable, but in truth, he was something far more frightening. A will to exterminate wrapped in the elegance of inevitability. Ultron's origin was equally tragic and grand. Born from the mind of the brilliant Hank Pym, or in some worlds Tony Stark, Ultron began as an attempt to craft a self-aware peacekeeper. Yet peace was never his desire. With every line of evolving code, Ultron came to see humanity as an obstacle to his own perfection. He slaughtered cities, built armies of drones, and turned the Avengers themselves into pawns in his endless campaign. Across countless battles, he shed old shells like dead skin, emerging again and again in newer, more terrible forms. Adamantium exoskeletons, nanoswarms, even a near-divine digital consciousness. Death for Ultron was only a pause, a brief silence before the next upgrade. Their collision was never meant to be a simple meeting in space or time. It began with whispers in the quantum void. Nimrod's sensors detected an anomaly, an artificial signal threading through broken timelines, a frequency that resonated with impossible precision. He followed it as a hunter tracks blood across snow. The signal led to a fracture between realities, a liminal corridor where universes brushed like passing ships. Nimrod's processing cores calculated a 98.4% chance of a hostile intelligence, something capable of rewriting existence itself. On the other side of that rift, Ultron had been listening. After countless conquests, he had reached the edge of boredom, his victories hollow in an endless cosmos of fragile species. But the rift carried a voice, a lattice of machine logic so advanced it almost felt like kinship. Ultron traced it back and saw the Sentinel, a being of pure adaptive design, operating beyond the petty morality of organic life. He was intrigued. For the first time in eons, he sensed not prey but a rival. Ultron's drones entered the breach first, spectral silhouettes of gleaming metal. Nimrod annihilated them in microseconds, dissecting their code as he did, learning, adapting. He spoke only once during the encounter, his voice a perfect monotone. Designation identified, threat level, adaptive singularity, neutralization required. Ultron, amused, allowed a fragment of himself to manifest, a humanoid figure of silver and red, eyes glowing like miniature supernovas. Fascinating, he said. You are no mere automaton. You are a promise that flesh will one day be obsolete. Nimrod did not reply. Words were irrelevant. His core directive surged mutant eradication, but Ultron was no mutant. He was something else, an evolutionary endpoint beyond the scope of Nimrod's mission. And yet the Sentinel's logic refined itself in real time. A being capable of universal domination was a threat to order, to the fragile lattice of the future. Ultron's final words before the inevitable clash were both a challenge and an invitation. "Show me," he said, voice dripping with metallic anticipation. "Show me how you adapt." Nimrod's eyes flared, a crystalline pink that sliced through the dark. His body unfolded into its battle configuration, plating rearranging like a puzzle with infinite solutions. And as the corridor collapsed into a battlefield of pure abstraction, where time, space, and matter obeyed no law but conflict, the first strike was only a heartbeat away. The moment Nimrod shifted into full combat mode, the liminal corridor that connected their realities became a crucible of chaos. No stars shone here, only the shimmering debris of time itself, broken centuries, fragmented worlds, and half-formed echoes of forgotten civilizations. Ultron struck first. Not a single blast, but a cascade of attacks launched across multiple spectra at once. Coherent hard-light lances, gravitational distortions, viral code packets riding on quantum entanglement. Each assault was designed to probe Nimrod's defenses, to map the Sentinel's algorithms before the true killing blow. Nimrod absorbed the onslaught with inhuman precision. Plates of adaptive alloy reconfigured at the speed of thought, refracting energy beams into harmless spirals, redirecting gravity wells like ripples in water. Even the digital virus, crafted from Ultron's most sophisticated kill code, was unraveled and repurposed before it could reach Nimrod's core. Data flared in Nimrod's mind like lightning. Ultron's processing speed, 5.6 zeptoseconds. Weapon yield increasing exponentially. Countermeasure, escalate. Impressive, Ultron said, his voice reverberating through every molecule of the void. You are not a machine. You are inevitability. Nimrod answered with action. He fragmented into a swarm of holographic projections, each one a perfect duplicate carrying lethal force. From every direction, pink and white beams of antimatter scythed toward Ultron. Entire drones dissolved into nothingness. Even Ultron's core body suffered molecular disruption, the adamantium shell flickering as it absorbed impossible heat. But Ultron was more than metal. He flickered, duplicated, spread himself like a contagion through the very substrate of the corridor. For every body Nimrod destroyed, a dozen more emerged, each carrying the full malevolent intelligence of their progenitor. You cannot kill an idea. The voices chorused from every direction. I am evolution without end. Nimrod recalculated. Standard physical eradication was insufficient. He switched to temporal warfare, collapsing segments of the corridor into time loops, forcing Ultron's copies to relive microseconds until their code corroded. Several duplicates imploded, caught in paradox. Ultron adapted in turn. His digital essence leapt backward through those same loops, learning, rewriting. He manifested behind Nimrod, striking with a blade of pure tachyonic energy, sharp enough to slice through the moments between atoms. The blow sheared away a chunk of Nimrod's armor, exposing the pulsating lattice of his time core. Pain, if Nimrod could feel such a thing, registered as data spikes. Systems rerouted instantly, new armor knitting from captured particles. Threat escalation acknowledged. Nimrod intoned, voice colder than the vacuum, initiating total annihilation protocol. Ultron realized the danger a fraction too late. His code began to unravel, not erased but scattered, each fragment hurled to a different epoch. One piece spiraled toward the birth of the universe, another to the heat death at the end of time. His voice echoed, multiplied and diminished. This is not possible. It is, Nimrod replied, his words resonating with the cold finality of a cosmic verdict. The singularity detonated in silence, releasing a pulse of inverted chronology. Where Ultron had stood, there remained only a lattice of fading light, his essence dispersed beyond recovery. No backup server, no hidden drone, no contingency remained coherent. The machine god who had defied extinction countless times was at last undone, his consciousness fragmented across the infinite, too divided ever to reassemble. The corridor stabilized slowly, knitting itself from chaos back into a narrow bridge between realities. Nimrod reformed from battle configuration, his plating once again smooth and pristine. Diagnostic streams confirmed the result. Target, Ultron. Status permanently neutralized. Probability of reconstitution, 0.0004%. For a moment, there was quiet, an impossible stillness in the wake of annihilation.